Hi, this is Zach here with the weekend edition of the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe. It is Sunday, the 27th of October. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which is still within that range between 82.30 and 83.50, which are two near-term support and resistance lines respectively. End of day close below 82.30, and we're looking for a retest of October-September support towards 81.60. Worst case is that something dreadful happens this week and we have to head towards 8,000, which would be not only the 200-day moving average at 80.60, but also the floor of that channel there from back in May. If we do break higher, we need at least an end-of-day close through 83.50, and if you're fussy, really 8400, because that's where we've failed multiple times since the beginning of the summer. It pushed, we've got the RSI below the neutral 50 level at the moment, and we've had a little RSI fader at neutral 52, so aggressive traders probably be going on the short side, even though we are still within the recent range. Moving on to the DAX, and here a picture rather more normal. We've got the line of resistance there from the early part of this month, so the first level to break around 19,600 on an end-of-day close basis, if we can do that. We're looking for up to 20,400, perhaps as soon as the end of next month. Obviously, we've got the US presidential election in the meantime, so that slows things down a bit. Worst case on the downside towards 19,000 and the 50-day line, but not really expecting that given the way that the RSI is well above neutral 50 at 58. And we've had plenty of RSI rebounds above that neutral 50 level. Moving along to the Dow, and here looking at a market which is doing what we sort of didn't want it to do, but key reversal down on Friday and heading towards that 50-day line and late September, early October support, 41,800. The worst case, I suppose, at the moment is a return to 41,500, the old July to August resistance for this market, but not quite over for the bulls yet, one would suspect, given the way that we are still above the 50-day line. There's a possibility that we have already hit our peak, and that resistance line and the top of that channel there was actually where the market peaked out, but a little bit too early to tell there. RSI at 46, so it does look as though we've got a day or two left of downside, even if we rebound after that. Moving on to Bitcoin, and here holding up quite well actually, higher lows at least this week, and the 50 and 200-day moving average is ready to cross, if not already crossed in some ways. Well, very, very close. Here you can see that we've got the 200-day line at 68,000. We got the resistance line there at 68,000 from back in March, and the 50 and 200-day lines around 63,000. Ideally, we stay on the right side of the 66,000 old resistance band, and that's becoming new support, and head up to 75,000 by the end of next month. RSI on the right side of 50 at 58, so that does suggest this is a mid-move consolidation ahead of a move up to 75,000. Moving on to gold, which has been somewhat of an heroic market of late and continues to do so. Maybe a bit late for this market to get up to 2,800 by the end of this month, but certainly looking for that by the end of next month, while we're above the floor of the channel and the old September resistance at 2708. Moving on to the stocks, and starting off with Alkemy, which has got a funding partnership with a third party, and interesting here that we had the gap close buy signal earlier in the month and a trendline break earlier in the month, which was well ahead of today's news. So the charting certainly worked there, in an almost forensic manner. We were then looking for on that trendline break up to as high as £1, and we're not that far away from it. The high on Friday, 92.5 pence. So looking for £1, hopefully by the end of this month, over the next few days, while we're above the Thursday resistance around 82 pence, and that's also the floor of an old gap there, but very pleased with that. Moving on to Angus Energy, and here multiple days of blue candles and a rising 50-day line suggests that we may be ready for a move to the upside. We already had a decent end of week close there, but up to 0.45 by the end of next month, while we remain above the initial October resistance at 0.27. RSI rebound above neutral 50 as well, also helping the cause. Moving on to Distil, and here just the first signs of a turnaround, gap close or very near to it on Friday. Got a sort of cup and handle turnaround there as well. U-shaped turnaround, and looking for the shares, I suppose, initially to get back up to trying to test the September resistance around 0.25, and then after that, hopefully 0.4 pence, filling the gap from August. Ideally, we stay above the recent swing low there at 0.13. On to the chart of the week, or the stock of the week, EnergyPathways, and here, even though one would have thought the progress here will be relatively slow in terms of the hydrogen storage nirvana, the shares rising very, very quickly, gapping through the initial October resistance of 4 pence, and then the next move higher. I think we're on target number 4 now, probably up to 10 or 10.5 pence by the end of next month, while we remain above the previous target there at 6.5 pence. So a decent turnaround there. On to Enwell, which is looking pretty good as well. Here we've got the shares hitting the top of that rising trend channel base that we had before, 25 pence above that, looking for up to 35 pence by the end of next month. Ideally, we're still on the right side of 24 pence. Stock which always brings a smile to the face is Futura Medical, and here we've gapped through a resistance line, gapped through the 50 and 200-day lines as well, above the 200-day line at 36 pence, looking at the top of that rising trend channel from this time last year as high as 53 pence by the end of next month. Yes, it looks as though we may finally have the big rally there. Stock which I've covered many times, nobody else has, is Great Southern Copper, and here we've had a break of recent neckline resistance on 1.3 pence. Above that, looking for 2.2 pence by the end of next month, or hopefully much sooner than that. You can see we've had gaps in the mix there, rising 50-day line off the low, double RSI rebound off neutral 50 as well, so it's all looking rather exciting at the moment. Maybe not quite as exciting, but still pretty good, is Heiq, which closed above the bottom of the gap there at 3.1 pence. Above that, we're looking for the shares to fill the gap up to 5.5 pence, hopefully over the next month or so. Initial target here, the old support there at 4.66 pence, but I think with that turnaround formation that we've had, and what is actually bullish divergence with the lower low for October versus September, one might see a decent move to the upside there while we're above the latest support around 2.8 pence. Moving on to MicroSalt, which the other week said it knew of no reason for the share price rise. Obviously, that was the Nomad telling it what to do. But after a little pullback, we're back on the right side of that trend line there from July. All we're really missing now is obviously some real news, but also an end-of-day close above the 50-day moving average to take us up to 75 pence, the 50-day line there at 55 pence. I want to see the shares remain above recent multi-tested support at 46 pence. RSI is broken above neutral 50. That helps too. On to Mosman, which is still waiting for the big move to the upside. Here we broke that line of resistance from July, then tested the 50-day line, so it's almost like a V-shape coming back up again. Still looking for 0.08, perhaps as soon as the end of next month, especially while we're above that 50-day line. We've also had an RSI 50 rebound this week, which has already been a leading indicator. Onto a stock which has never delivered until perhaps now. We've had one day massive bear trap rebound from below 0.5. So that should have cleared out some of the weak hands. Got rising 50 and 200-day lines as well, so that suggests we're going to a golden cross. So if one is punchy and brave, one would be looking for at least a retest of June resistance, 0.91, by the end of next month, and expect the shares to remain above the 50-day line at 0.55. Been a good week for Ondine Biomedical and Ondine Biomedical, in fact, and here rising 50-day line with initial target here at 9.5 pence, second target there 13 pence by the end of next month, and two gaps higher in the recent past, especially the last one through the 50-day line, making this look very nice indeed. Seascape is next, the old long boat, and here another stock with the 50 and 200-day lines rising, so golden cross very soon, one would expect, maybe in the next week or so. We are very close to one of the second target there, which was towards 40 pence. In fact, I think we missed it by half a penny. Above 40 pence, looking for the shares to go up to as high as 64 pence by the end of next month. the upper parallel of the second upper parallel that we have there on the chart. Ideally, we stay above the low of Friday at around 30 pence on an end-of-day close in the meantime. Finishing off with the last two. First one is SkinBio Therapeutics, and here V-shaped rebound above a rising 50-day line and above the top of that gap there, so looking very strong indeed. End-of-day close above 16 pence should take us quite quickly up to 21 pence, and the upper parallel of that rising trend channel base. Finishing off with Upland, which is probably, if you're a bull, a 2 or 3p lower than it should be at the moment, but we've had a long time spent at the bottom of the range. We've got a rising 50-day line, and we closed quite nicely at the end of the week above that 50-day line at 1.15 pence. Looking for at least a retest of the 1.4 pence area, September resistance, over the next week or two, given that strong weekly close that we've had. Also seen the RSI push above neutral 50 as well for the first time in over a month, so that is pretty good news as well. Upside value while we're above that 1.15 area on an end of day close basis. That's it for me today. More updates during the week.